my name is Shelby Hartman. I'm DoubleBlind's co-founder and editor-in-chief, and today we're talking about Salvia. First, I just want to say, for those of you who've been watching our videos for a while now, leaving us comments, liking, thank you so much for your support. And if you like these videos and you have yet to subscribe and turn on those notifications, then I just want to remind you to do so you never miss a beat from us. Also, some exciting news! DoubleBlind is launching a podcast. It's called the DoubleBlind Magic Hour. It's hosted by yours truly, and each episode we are talking to the most brilliant minds we know in psychedelics about politics, news, and beyond. We're also speaking to our favorite journalists who write about psychedelics for DoubleBlind magazine. They're taking you into the field and behind the scenes to talk about all of the juicy developments within the psychedelic movement. So Salvia, more specifically Salvia divinorum, is a soft green plant that is part of the mint family. The plant produces a powerfully psychoactive response due to the chemical salvinorin contained in its leaves. Salvia has long been called an atypical psychedelic because it produces a trip that is very different from other psychedelics like shrooms or LSD. Salvia grows in the high, humid tropical mountains and can be spotted by its large green leaves, hollow spare stems, and violet flowers. The plant is native to the Sierra Mazateca region of Oaxaca in southern Mexico. Like psilocybin mushrooms, Salvia also has a long history of being used by the indigenous Mazatec peoples. Traditionally, it was used to treat illness by the Mazatec curanderas and curanderos, and today it is still used as an entheogen as part of religious ceremonies. To administer the salvia, the Mazatec people would chew the leaves or squeeze and grind the leaves, creating a juice to drink. In 1962, famed psychedelic researcher Albert Hofmann traveled to Mexico to research salvia and introduced it to the Western world. He sent a cutting of the plant back to Harvard University, where it was identified botanically as Salvia divinorum. Hofmann tried to extract the active chemical in salvia, but was ultimately unsuccessful. Salvia is legal in many states, including California, Oregon, Washington, Idaho, Montana, Nevada, Utah, New York, South Carolina, and a few others. Many people report that, as compared with other psychedelics, salvia isn't a particularly enjoyable experience. I can attest to that, and so can the many other people who have posted ridiculous videos of themselves on YouTube on salvia. Salvia creates a dramatic and sometimes frightening full body and mind experience. It's not uncommon for those taking salvia to feel an increase of pressure across their entire body. This is a unique effect of salvia and has been coined salvia gravity. Others report feeling a sense of stretching or splitting. On the mental side, salvia can create dizziness, increased emotionality, and a dreamlike state of consciousness. It is these mental effects that have popularized salvia as an entheogen. Generally, the effects of salvia are a little different than your typical psychedelic. The most common physiological effects are dizziness, perspiration, loss of motor function, slurred speech, chills, and an imbalance during standing or walking. At low doses, the cognitive effects include increased body awareness, euphoria, an increased presence of mind, altered perceptions, and heightened introspection. At higher doses, salvia can cause out-of-body experiences like time distortion, vivid imagery, and traveling to other places, planets, or times in your head. The visual hallucinations include depth perception distortions and cubism. At heroic doses, users record a sense of ego dissolution, common among most psychedelics, as well as synesthesia and disassociating from their body, mind, and just general sense of self. It's worth mentioning that the salvia trip is often described as coming from outside the person rather than as an experience that is reflecting what's happening internally, which sets it apart from other psychedelics. So in general, what I'm going to say about salvia is that some people do report its antidepressant effects anecdotally. Some people say that after they have a salvia experience, much like after they have a psilocybin or an LSD experience, that their mood just feels sort of elevated. They experience what some people refer to as kind of the afterglow effect in the days and weeks following. If you're someone that doesn't know where to access shrooms or LSD or a more classic psychedelic, and you're also concerned about the legality, then you could try Salvia. It's also a much shorter experience than LSD or shrooms, but also just sort of reiterating that a lot of people find it to be an incredibly uncomfortable experience. And at those higher doses, if you are a person that is really interested in experiencing sort of like dissolution of self and like sort of a shift in your perception of reality, it's also can allow you to sort of touch those other dimensions, right? It can let you sort of peek behind the curtain of what it is to have an experience that really takes you out of your everyday way of perceiving. I definitely wouldn't say, you know, if you're wanting to have a shroom or LSD experience, that you should just like do Salvia instead. You should go in with your eyes wide open, knowing that it is a very different kind of experience and that some people just don't like it. If you are interested in learning more about journeying on psychedelics, this is something that you're considering doing, then we have so many articles on doubleblindmag.com. And you know, we started DoubleBlind because we are deeply passionate about educating people on how to safely and respectfully embark on a journey with psychedelics for healing and growth, if that's something that they want to do. And I'm going to emphasize the if, because we don't think that psychedelics will fix all of your problems, and we don't think that they're for everyone. We began as a print magazine, which is still our baby. It comes out twice a year. And we also help hundreds of thousands of people with free education like these videos and the articles on our website. We have vowed to never have a paywall over what we do because we don't want to lock people out of the information that they need to feel better. So we have a monthly membership that includes access to a community of psychonauts like you, conversations led by me with experts in psychedelics, a subscription to our beautiful print magazine, and so much more. So whether you've been following us for a while or you're just stumbling upon us now, if you're interested in going more deeply into your journey with psychedelics, I'm going to invite you to support us at doubleblindmag.com/membership. Salvia has been called an atypical psychedelic because it acts on entirely different pathways in the brain than classic psychedelics. Salvinorin A and salvinorin B, which are the naturally occurring psychoactive chemicals in the plant, are structurally different from compounds such as THC, DMT, LSD, and psilocybin. And because of this structural difference, Salvia acts on the kappa opioid receptors in the brain without affecting the serotonin receptors targeted by most psychedelics. And while Salvia reacts with opioid receptors, scientists believe it does so differently than opioid drugs like heroin. Salvinorin A is the only known naturally occurring K-opioid receptor agonist. K-opioid receptors are the most abundant opioid receptor in the brain and are involved with pathways that control substance dependence, pain, and depression. The most common way of taking salvia is by smoking the dry leaves out of a pipe, bong, or joint. Smoking salvia will usually not produce extremely strong psychedelic effects. In traditional Mexican consumption, users would chew the leaves into a cud and hold the juices in their mouths for increased absorption, and brewing the leaves to create tea is also an option. As salvia has become more commercialized, extracts are available online or at local smoke shops. These extracts can be anywhere from 5 to 10 or more times more concentrated and are used to induce intense trips. Extracts can also be used to make tinctures, and these tinctures are the purified liquid extract placed under the tongue to offer a quicker onset of action and sometimes lengthen the experience. Unlike many other psychedelics, salvia is very short-acting. When smoking it, the height of the experience only lasts between 30 seconds and 5 minutes. Its onset is immediate and dissipates quickly. Chewing the leaves over several minutes creates a slightly longer trip between 30 and 90 minutes, and a tincture under the tongue can create a 10 to 20 minute experience. The after effects and come down can last between 30 and 120 minutes depending on the way that you take it. When smoking salvia, a typical dose is between 0.2 and 0.5 grams, but a lot of people find it difficult to achieve the full effects from smoking salvia at these doses, or in fact, at any dose. You might require multiple large hits off a bong or pipe, and that is still no guarantee of a large enough dose to hit a high level of salvia inhalation. For sublingual consumption, a typical dose is between 10 and 50 grams of fresh, not dried, leaf, or about 6 to 30 leaves. Extracts usually come in 5x, 6x, and 10x concentrations, and a single hit will be more than enough. Salvia and cannabis are sometimes grouped together because they are both naturally occurring plants that are commonly smoked to induce a psychoactive experience. No surprise there. But that's basically where the similarity ends. Cannabis generally produces a mellow high, generally, that lasts between 1 and 4 hours and will not usually produce hallucinations. Usually. Salvia is not as casual. It's an intense and fast-acting psychedelic, and while weed acts on cannabinoid receptors, salvia acts on opioid ones. At very low doses of salvia, some may see similarities between being stoned, like dizziness and some euphoria. However, there is chat among users that combining cannabis with salvia can mellow out the salvia, producing a more enjoyable experience. There's a lot more to say about salvia. If you'd like, you can check out the guide to the full article in the description of this video. And I also just want to remind you that if you found this video helpful, to subscribe and turn on your notifications. Until next time.